Today I'm going to show you how to measure yourself. As you know, I'm not just a fashion designer, I'm also a pattern maker. So this is the way the person who's making the patterns for the clothes, wherever you're shopping online, is thinking about how your measurements are. There are a couple of common misconceptions out there about how to measure yourself. The biggest one being that measuring has something to do with landmarks on your body. This is not true. Your hip has nothing to do with your hip bone, your waist has nothing to do with your belly button. So let's go through them. First is the bust. You want to measure, the most important thing here, with your arms down at your sides. So I'm going to try and keep the tape parallel to the floor. If I'm looking in a mirror, I can be able to see where my bust is sticking out the most and try to measure. A lot easier to do with a friend. But one thing that I commonly see is that someone is going to do this and then have someone measure them. When my arms are out like this, my rib cage is just expanded. So that measurement might come out 1 or 2 inches bigger. Well, 2 inches is a size. So make sure when you're measuring your bust that your arms are at your side. The other thing that's important is that your bra is on, because you want your boobs to be in the place where they're going to be. So again, there's no landmark with your bust. It's just wherever the widest part of your chest is, that's where your bust is. For your waist, it's the narrowest part. Now, if you're skinny bones like me, obviously, it's very easy to find the waist. Just twist it around, wherever that tape is sitting, that's going to be the smallest part. You'll notice this is a good 1.5 inches above my belly button. So my waist right now is 27, but if I measure around this belly button, all of a sudden it's 30. So you can see that you're going to get a pretty big discrepancy if you're not measuring in the right place. Now, if you have a different body type, and you have a little bit more business around here, that slimmer point might be a little bit higher. So if you're feeling like, wow, this isn't my waist, it's way too high, then just go 1.5 inches above your belly button, and that'll give you a pretty accurate measurement of where your pattern maker thinks your waist is. So if you're going to buy like a dress that has a waist seam or a tie or an elastic or anything like that, your pattern maker is thinking about your waist as being a certain distance from this point here, called the high shoulder point, somewhere around here. So if you don't quite have that easily defined narrower area, just go with 1.5 inches above your belly button. But don't measure your belly button, it's going to be way too big. Then the hip, again, we're back to the biggest point. So the easiest way to measure this is to turn sideways in the mirror. You want your feet kind of like about the width of your hand apart. You don't want to put them like this. And you don't want to have them, you don't really stand with your feet together very often. So put them just in a comfortable place apart, looking sideways in the mirror, and then measure around your hip, whatever that is. So again, the purpose of this measurement from a pattern maker's perspective is to determine the largest area. So if you have a body like mine, I think this is called violin hips, that have this hip dip right here. On me, and if you have this body type, the largest point isn't actually my hip. So this isn't going to apply to any HCC apparel because I don't make clothes that I can't do jumping jacks in. But if you're ever on another website and you're trying to buy like a pencil skirt or something that's very, very slim through the hip area, and you have this body shape, then you need to make sure that you measure around a little bit down there to find where the biggest point is. So on me, right now, my hip is 38 if I go with this biggest bum sticking out area. But if I go a little farther down, oh, we're 39 now, right? And you can see why that is. It's because that's where this is sticking out. It's because I have these hip dips, so it makes my hips seem smaller. So if you're going to buy a straight fitted garment and you have this kind of body shape, make sure that you kind of check a few areas. So otherwise you're going to get the garment and it's going to be too tight. You're going to get pull lines across here where this pulls. So that's all. I hope that helps you measure. Let me know if you have any other questions. And happy online shopping!